Welcome back to Canadian Justice, where we're discussing gardening as a form of artistic and political expression. We're chatting with Wolf Ruck, who's a Mississauga gardener and homeowner who is in a dispute with the city of Mississauga, who wants to mow down his naturalized garden. Now, Wolf, you were unsuccessful at the lower court and you were unsuccessful in getting that injunction. What happens next? Are you planning to appeal? Are you worried that bylaw enforcement could just show up and cut everything down one day?
Well, that's a possibility, and that is certainly a cloud hanging over my head because that has happened in the last 2 years. With respect to the appeal, my request to basically put a stay on the order of enforcing the bylaw is part of my appeal, and the appeal process is it has been filed. My application to appeal has been filed, and it's just a matter now of hopefully uh, being able to, in a forum, in I would say an unbiased forum, to present my case in detail, in more detail than was presented in the previous two cases in front of a judge. Uh, I had relied, perhaps this is a strategic mistake, but I had relied substantially on all of my written material. And I have a feeling that it was just essentially ignored in the two previous incidents or interactions with the courts. So the appeal process is the next step. And if the appeal process were again to be uh, against or be adjudicated against my request, I'm prepared to go to the Supreme Court if necessary. It's to me, it's a very, very important part of a huge movement that is literally growing day by day. There are thousands of people that are part of this rewilding, urban rewilding movement. In the United States, for example, certain state governments and municipalities are actually paying lawn owners or property owners that have the traditional lawns to rewild them because they are aware of what's at stake. And we're talking about the future essentially of the planet.
Yeah, I mean, think about all of the times that there are orders that we receive in different parts of Canada to stop watering our lawn. Well, if we had naturalized lawns, we wouldn't be faced with this same type of problem. Let's talk about that movement a little bit. We've got a minute and a half left. What do you think people need to understand about naturalized gardens? Does there need to be a cultural shift to understand the aesthetic and maybe political meaning behind that? And how do we start that shift?
Well, I think the shift has already taken place, Christine. It is a huge movement. It is growing day by day. There are people who've been on the barricades, if you will, on this issue for decades. I'm talking about people like Lorraine Johnson, uh, uh, Joyce Hostin, Nita Marie Lister. These are all people, and of course, a renowned lawyer, David Donnelly, who've been on literally the barricade, certainly in Ontario, for upgrading and modernizing these bylaws. These bylaws are on the books and they were probably established in the 50s and 60s, and a lot has changed since that time, as we all know. And this is an unstoppable movement, I would say, and it's very worthwhile for everybody to inform themselves, to realize that this is actually for the greater public good
Hmm.
in terms of everything from fossil fuel burning to uh, or countering the
Hmm.
decline in biodiversity and the decline
Right.
or the global warming situation that we're faced with.
That's all the time we have. Wolf, thank you so much for coming on to tell us your story.